it starting? It's starting.
Are we starting?
Live.
We're going.
We're
We're going.
live. We're live. We're live.
Welcome
my
back.
gosh.
Welcome back, everybody, to the All New
The
Nerds.
Nerds podcast.
And we are
Wait,
live.
whoops.
It's not the podcast. No, it's the All New
not.
Nerds live.
I'm sorry. It's
This week we have been
autopilot.
plagued by technical issues. Our podcast went up today for some reason. Supposed to go up Monday. Awful. But today, of course, we're joined and even more technical difficulties. I'm hearing an echo. Okay, we're good now. I was in the middle of the intro and I heard myself. Very confused. So as always, I have my wonderful co-host, Dylan, down in the bottom, at least for me.
What's up, everyone? It's top right actually on the stream. So
Top
if you
right?
wanna
Okay,
just,
all right,
like,
all
you
right.
know,
I'm gonna guess top left is fellow, all new Marauder, AJ, joining us.
You'd be wrong. It's bottom left.
Well, I took a stab. I took a
Damn,
stab.
50-50 chance.
And then joining us from the world between worlds is Aiden Talks Star Wars Topics. He's joining us as an ethereal
Hello
voice.
there to the chat.
And hopefully we will enjoy his presence. So, how's everyone doing? I got Elijah in the chat.
Doing well.
Good to see.
What's up, Elijah?
How's everyone's
Yeah.
week been?
AJ, how's that hot Boston weather right now?
Oh my god, it's steamy
I'm dying
today.
in my room right now. It is really not.
I get
good.
the AC going though, so.
What up,
I
Mike?
would if my mic would pick it up. So.
True.
I'll suffer. Aiden, how about you? How you doing, man? We haven't really got a chance to talk, but I know you and Levi, and Johnny have talked before.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm just I've been working the past couple days. I've been up since 5:30 in the morning, and I
Ooh,
just
damn.
got done with work
So Brent,
an hour
Sweet.
ago. So
Well, thanks for coming on, man. It was pretty last second. Literally, Levi was like, "You want to get
Yeah,
Aiden in?"
no.
I was like, "Sure."
yeah,
So
no, I
just did.
appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
What's-
nice to meet you, Aiden, through not I would say face to face, but voice to voice rather than through
Yeah,
the chat. I've
my
seen you out
camera-
there.
yeah. My camera on my phone's kind of bad, so
No
I'll
problem.
just be an ethereal, bodiless voice for today.
It's fine.
Aiden, let me
Love
ask
it.
you this: Do you read the Star Wars comics? You a comic reader?
I try to get the comics when I can. I haven't really been keeping up to date on like the new initiative they're doing in War of the Bounty Hunters, but like I saw the new Vader comic where he goes to Exegol, and yeah, that's pretty much all I know about Star Wars comics right now. I've kind of been out of the loop because I've just been kind of busy with work.
Yeah, I asked. Understandable. I asked because today I felt was a pretty big day for Star Wars comics. We had 3 issues come out today. We had Weapon of the Jedi, which is the U.S. release. So they're reprinting the series. So some of you may be familiar with. During the Force Awakens, they did 4 young reader novels or early reader novels about the original trilogy cast, and then they did one for Finn, Rey, and Poe. And the first one, Smuggler's Run, also named after the ride, got its. So they were actually printed first in Germany in a German magazine in 2017, and they are now getting U.S. releases. And the Smuggler's Run came out these past couple months, and now Weapon of the Jedi came out, so that's starting today. And then we have both Dr. Aphra 10 and Vader issue 12, which are all part of the Prelude series to the War of the Bounty Hunters, and I thought they were excellent. Dirge
Yeah.
shows up finally in Aphra, and in Vader, it's just like the most. I loved it. It was badass. The art is great. Capeless Vader is just like the coolest thing. It's something you do with your action figure as a
He's
kid.
capeless, man.
When Vader doesn't have a cape, and he just looks so cool. He's just
Yeah,
he just
Yeah.
is
he looks
like
nice and like streamlined. Yeah.
yeah, he looks like he's the enforcer, He's the Emperor's enforcer. He's ready to kick someone's ass. He whips the cape on. Oh, it's so cool. I was like,
I have to get on these comics, man. Every
Yeah, the-
image I've seen of them are beautiful. I know the stories are amazing.
we got another buff Hut. Really happy about that.
Oh,
Every day we
yeah.
get another buff Hut in
Keep the
Star
buff
Wars.
Huts coming, man.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions. We got actually quite a few questions in chat. Mike Smith says top 10 Clone Wars episodes go.
Oh,
That could be
I
a whole
don't
podcast. So
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
gonna-
know if I
Yeah,
can
that's
just
that's a difficult
What's up, Mandy? You're
question.
gonna hold that for a second.
I know
Um,
Levi would be able to just go to his notes that he took because he's a crazy
Yeah.
man.
Nico says
That'd
top
be a fun
3
thing to
most
talk
important
about.
Star Wars characters. That's
Ooh.
also could be a whole podcast.
Yeah, that's
but
like-
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
I'm
another
gonna
big
circle
one.
back. I'm gonna circle back to the Clone Wars episodes. For me, landing at Point Rain holds a special place in my heart. I believe it's season 2, episode 5. It's the start of the second Battle of Geonosis arc. But in honestly, season 1, episode, I believe it's 17, which is it's called Trespass. It's the one with the Pantorans on the moon. I love it. I think it's this really cool self-contained story. Not
Oh
a single
yeah.
lightsaber ignited the whole time. Not one lightsaber ignited. But it's super cool. Rex is an absolute badass. Really fun geopolitics in Star Wars, and I love it. I think
That is a great episode.
it was pretty good.
Hell yeah. We got
You folk, other folk. What are your opinions on?
I mean, I'll talk in arcs, I guess. Anything with Domino Squad I'm a sucker for. So the cadets arc,
Yes, the Legend Deal.
yeah.
rookies arc, even the fives arc. In season
6.
right?
6.
Yeah.
Like
Good
that's
stuff.
one of my favorites, and it's so emotional too.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say the Umbara arc for
haven't
me,
caught it yet,
probably.
actually.
Yeah.
It's like when I first did my Clone Wars watch through, that was the one I was like, this thing is amazing, and I still just like it's one of the arcs that I like really go back to when I need my Clone Wars fix, need my clones fix in general because the Clone
Straight into
Wars
the
is awesome.
veins. There's clones right in the veins.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just like
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the episodes that really helps humanize the clones, and just really does it for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
yeah, because it really
Yeah.
follows. Sorry, Aiden. But I was
No,
gonna
you
say
go
it really
ahead.
follows the clones, and like Rex's point of view, because the Jedi go out of the picture, and then Pong Krell kind of becomes the enemy there.
Yeah.
So it's cool to just see like, I feel like that's one of the few arcs or episodes where it strictly follows the clones rather than like a general and the clones, like one of the Jedi and the clones. But
And
yeah.
when Rex was gonna execute Pong Krell.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
was
so
Tup
good.
does it, not
Yeah.
Tup. I can't believe I said that. Dogma does it. I can't believe I said
Dogma,
Tup.
yeah.
Come on, it's Dogma. It's the theme. I don't know why I said Tup, guys. I apologize immediately in the chat. They're in the chat. They're talking about lightsaber loss, which I think actually is. People give that episode a lot of crap. Lightsaber
That's a good arc.
loss.
It's
Terra-
cute.
Terrace Anube and
Yeah.
a Jarellian Django jumper. I don't think it's Corellian. I think it's like a different word. I always think it's Corellian, but it's not. It's like a fake Corellia. The Django jumpers and the other woman, I can't remember, never remember her name. It's like, gosh, I don't know. But Terrace Anube is a beast. He's got the sweet.
We see a
lightsaber.
cool side to
he's awesome.
Coruscant in that arc too. So
We do,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's fun.
Got a big Palpatine sign. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Now, Aiden, I know you're a trooper man. You're a connoisseur of the boys in white. So,
Which is why my answer might surprise you, Levi.
well,
So
yeah, let's hear it.
So the arc that really impacted me was the Mortis arc, because like before that arc, we had never seen really anything like that, and just that storyline about the Mortis gods and like the balance between the light side and the dark side, and Anakin finding out that he's the chosen one truly, and seeing Qui-Gon again. Just really a lot of cool moments in that arc. And then of course, probably the best arc in all of Clone Wars, and this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, is of course Siege of Mandalore.
Let's go.
Like
Yeah.
you can't
Hell
you can't
yeah.
top it.
You
You can't
just
top
can't.
Siege of
You just
Mandalore.
can't. I watched the Siege of Mandalore recently, actually, like the other day, just the whole thing through, and it's just so beautiful, man. Like that's like the perfect way to end the Clone Wars, you know?
Shout out to Mike Smith in
Agreed.
the chat who just said he finished Rebels. I hope you enjoyed it, man. Emotional
dude,
finale.
it's-
The finale of
I love
Rebels gets
Rebels.
me every time.
Yeah.
I encourage rewatching the show. Obviously not immediately, let it sit for a bit. But Rebels is a show that it took me a few times through, which sounds, I know, a lot. It's a huge time commitment. But for me, it really aged well, and like watching it back, I enjoyed it more. I felt the cohesiveness of the story. And sorry to almost interrupt myself. Lavelle says, "Where's Johnson?"
He fell into the
Johnson,
Grand
yeah,
Canyon.
Johnson's gone, man. He's never coming back.
He's not doing
Uh,
too well. We don't know for sure. He's missing in action.
MIA, really.
Yeah. So
He'll
He's
be back.
prospecting on
I think he's
Sub-Zero.
back.
I
I
hear.
think, yeah, out past the Rishi maze.
Yeah.
He should be back Thursday, I think.
yeah, I hope so. So
hopefully
not-
he'll be back by
not
the.
mornings.
Hopefully he'll be back by the next episode of Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Scrolling up through the chat, I know you guys were talking. I want to try and cover everyone's questions, keep the engagement going. Yeah, top three.
To go to-
wisdom. Oh, go ahead.
To talk about Rebels quickly, because I see they were talking about it in the chat. Is there really like that many people that dislike Rebels? Like, I feel like they
did,
compare it to
yes,
Clone
yeah.
Wars, and I don't know why they're in Star Wars. I don't know why everything has to be a competition of what's better. I think that's just one of the main issues we have.
Sure.
But like Rebels is awesome, and I see them all saying it's pretty great.
Yeah.
And I thought, it starts slow. Season 1, it's kind of extra kiddish, like Resistance kiddish almost. But then season 2, like it ramps up. Ahsoka's back, Rex is back eventually, and
The thing
I
with
don't know.
Rebels is I think a lot of people that don't like it didn't stick with it. Because I was
Yeah.
on that boat where I was watching season 1 and I thought a portion of season 2, I was like, wow, I'm actually really
I was
not
too.
enjoying this all that much. Watching it back, I get the charm because you know where it leads on into. But I was never a huge fan. And then so I stopped watching it, but then like I heard that like Maul came back and just like all this stuff was going on. So I hopped back on it sort of, I don't want to say recently, but I guess sort of recently, and I think it's pretty good. I can see why
Yeah.
some people don't love it all that much, but for what it is, I think it's a good show.
I was recently interviewed by Star Wars Exchange over on Instagram. Go check him out. I don't think the interview's gone up yet, but we were having he sort of asked like a coy question, like what's better, Rebels or Clone Wars? And afterwards, he said like the Spark of Rebellion, the first episode of Rebels, is his favorite piece of Star Wars content. I thought that was so cool, and I think people, because I was on that same boat, I thought I fell off after Rebels season 1. I was like, I didn't come back.
Oh, me
until,
too. Yeah.
I didn't come back until much later, and was like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
great. And then
Well, it's like
watching
it's
it,
for
and I was
kids, that's how I felt. I was like, you know what, it's not.
like,
fair.
even
it-
then though, it when you rewatch it, it really has the original trilogy New Hope vibe. Like it
Right.
doesn't,
Yeah, yeah.
it never
Yeah.
for me really crosses into the Resistance territory, which does have moments that are it crosses from everyone could enjoy this to this is for a literal child. Whereas Rebels, I think, always maintains the level of sort of George Lucas original trilogy jubilance that
It had a great charm to it.
has just a wonderful charm, and I really think it holds up, especially in
Yeah.
the visual style staying consistent throughout the whole thing. Whereas like Clone Wars changes so much from beginning to end, whereas Rebels is consistent throughout the whole thing, and that I
Yeah.
think is something
For-
else to be appreciated.
People that are coy to starting Rebels, if there's anyone in the chat, don't like if you are kind of indifferent or don't think it's too great, just stay for like Kanan and stuff like that. I'd say like I feel like Kanan is just one of the best characters in that show. He's my favorite character in that show. One of my favorite characters in Star Wars.
He's some
honestly.
people's favorite
Yeah.
character. And then James
Yeah.
Gunn,
I'd say
over
he's
the
up
Resistance broadcast, it's his favorite character.
Yeah, he's great, and he goes through he just goes through a great arc throughout the whole show, and just like I don't want to spoil anything, but by the end of the show, he's just this awesome, amazing Jedi.
He's Kanan Jarrus Jedi Knight. It's one
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
best.
Yes.
yeah,
I love it. Aiden,
Yeah,
even, give me your thoughts on Rebels, because I know you're
yeah,
probably,
to-
if I were to guess, you're probably more of a Clone Wars guy, but that's just me. That's just my assumption.
actually,
Don't need to compete.
I actually stuck with Rebels. So I didn't really take a break from it. I kind of watched it all the way through when it came out. And I mean, people always say that they don't want to give it a chance, but exactly like Clone Wars, Rebels has led to so much other material. It's just like a building block, just like Clone Wars was for Rebels. And now Rebels is a building block for other stuff that we've gotten or we're going to get. Like we got the book A New Dawn, which is a story of how Hera and Kanan meet. And then we have the new Thrawn trilogy, which takes place a little bit before, and I think all the way up to the last season of Rebels,
Correct.
which is really cool stuff.
yeah.
And not to get into spoilers, but it's already set up stuff that are going to be in some of the upcoming shows, which is really interesting to see because, in my opinion, Star Wars is at its best when it draws upon other aspects of the universe and kind of brings them together to really boost any type of story they're trying to tell. Like, oh, here's this character from
Yeah, it's like
this
a little
comic
the
or-
sprinkles on some ice cream. It's just like
Yeah.
the perfect topping. Exactly right.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah,
And you're so right about now with Ahsoka essentially becoming a live action sequel to Rebels. It's a pretty exciting time to be a Rebels fan.
and Thrawn too. Thrawn is a great character in Rebels. I know
Yeah.
some people have some problems with him, but I think throughout was so consistent. He was just an awesome character. He was a
Great
scary
villain, yeah.
and he's gonna continue to be throughout Filoniverse stuff. Sorry, I got this towel. I am literally sweating in my room. It's about a thunderstorm, so I think it's gonna get a little.
Yeah, it's
cooler,
getting a little dark out there.
but, ugh, it's not
The
good.
circle.
But
To
to go
circle
off
back.
what
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just to go off what Aiden said, I pretty much had a discussion with some people before Mando season 2. I loved Mando season 1, but Star Wars
Same,
really
same.
does it for me when it
Sorry,
when it
Alex.
ties every. What's that?
Talking to the chat. Continue.
Oh, my bad. Star Wars really does it for me when like they tie in other stuff. So Mando season 2 really did that when they brought in Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, and everyone. And
Yeah.
I agree with what Aiden said there.
I was gonna take it back to sort of brief the chat on War of the Bounty Hunters because it's something current going on right now. But thank you. I imagine it's Jamie in the chat saying like the Spaceballs t-shirt. Spaceballs the t-shirt. Go check out.
Oh, yeah.
Spaceballs. Very cool. But I want to address the great Rise of Skywalker debluening of 2021 because my God, I have never been more confused in my entire
Should we talk about our night?
I have never been more confused. So
Did they unblue it?
So Palpa Memes, good friend of the show, Palpa Memes, tweets that they've changed the Rise of Skywalker on Disney Plus. That they've done a new color grading, and everyone starts losing it, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And so I didn't hear about this. I was busy all day. Then AJ and I we play Halo, the hit video game series Halo, trademark.
Pay us.
And during it, AJ is like, have you heard about the Tross recoloring? And I was like, what? No. And so, among other things, we start talking about that. And then eventually we're watching the movie. And we're watching it together and we're going, oh my God, look how good this looks. Look how great it looks. It looks so much better. Little do I know. And I go on Twitter and people are like, it hasn't been deblued. You're all just crazy. And I was like, did I just incept myself into thinking it was different? And I talked to Palpa Memes. I DM Palpa Memes. I'm like, hey man, what's the deal? Is this real or not? Apparently, it all has to do with technology and the way HDR screens render photos. And people were getting screenshots from this one website, and 4K doesn't look the same on a 1080p screen. And apparently, it's all just nonsense. And there was never any change. And so
So you got
had just,
placeboed. You
so
took the
I had just
placebo
tricked
pill.
myself into thinking this. But here's the real
But
twist:
yeah.
AJ is still convinced that there was change, and some people
I
are
watched
still,
it on my Xbox several
some
times.
people are staking this thing at the flag in the hill that it's been changed,
I think you're crazy. Both
and
of you.
I lost it.
Well, either way,
I spent like
it
3
looked
hours
beautiful
that
when
night.
we watched it.
It did. I spent like 3 hours that night. I had my phone up with Disney Plus. I had a Blu-ray in. I had iTunes pulled up on
Oh man.
on my computer. I was like looking at
You had
3
a
different
whiteboard
versions
in the
of
background.
Tron. I was like, I was taking photos of different things. I had
Pepe
I had my
Silvia.
roommates. I was like, yeah, it was a Pepe Silvia moment. The mail was coming in, and I was like, what's the difference? What is what? And I lost. I was losing it. I just gave up and went to
You
sleep.
exploded.
I was going.
You became
crazy.
a Spaceballs fan instead.
I watched the freaking Ben Solo Han scene and the intro to Tross like 10 times each that night. I was
Great scene.
crazy.
Yeah.
Good
Nico
bit.
points out that we're close to 800 subs. Thank you, Nico. Thanks for
Oh man.
thanks for the subs, everyone. Yeah, we.
But AJ,
are
what is your
getting
defense?
there.
So you think it's still changed?
I mean, I can only say what my eyes saw, right? We looked at it that night. The blue on the lightsaber for Rey looked, like we said, it looked like Force Awakens, which was like, it made sense to you and I
Tricked
saying that.
ourselves.
I guess, but
I think we just tricked ourselves and we started looking
So-
at the movie more like we really started.
so if I go
staring.
pop in the Blu-ray, it's gonna look worse. Or it's gonna look bluer, I should say, than what Disney Plus will look like, or no?
No, I think the people
Because
were
I can go
saying
do that after this.
that the Blu-ray was always de-blued and that Disney Plus just had the blue version, but then
Blu-rayed.
but then-
Blu-ray, get
but
it?
then
Like,
it was revealed. People were like, the color analysts were like, it was never blue to begin with. And I was like,
Can someone figure out how to make the joke here? Because it's like Blu-ray, like you got Ray in Star Wars.
I was
and
thinking of that the whole
Blu-ray.
time, yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
was
very
like,
funny.
I was trying to figure something out.
it's hilarious.
So
It is.
maybe
Really?
I think maybe it was never blue. Exegol is very blue. It just looks. That's the way it
Exegol's
looks.
blue, all right.
We love Exegol. I mean, I shouldn't say we because I don't know what the hell your guys' opinions are, but whatever. Exegol is cool, but it looks blue. But I don't know. Like maybe it was just a random. It was more of a random internet spread thing that it was blue. Like people would always share screen caps. Maybe those just appeared blue while the film
Yeah,
isn't actually
it had to
blue.
do with people. Color
It's
analysts were
strange.
saying it had to do with like the way these screenshots render on phones and stuff. And what I think happened was, so for me anyway, I always watch the movie on an Apple TV, which is only 1080p. I have never watched it fully through on my Xbox. The Xbox is
Yeah.
rendering it in 4K, and so I was watching it, and I have a 4K TV, but I just it's not worth it for me to turn on my Xbox every time to watch something. But we just happened to be on it, and so when I was watching it, it was I think I was just noticing the 4K improvements, and I was like, wow, this sure looks good.
Did
I don't know.
It's
Le-
Kathleen Kennedy's fault, right?
Oh yeah, Disney ruined. Yeah, Disney.
Did you
Ah,
see
jeez.
Well, look at
Kathleen-
Aiden.
Whoa, what the heck?
Did you
took
see that
me-
Aiden? Yeah. Aiden gets
Did you guys see that Kathleen Kennedy is changing Lucasfilm's name?
Yeah, the Kathy.
I didn't
Yeah.
I believe
know
it
if that
is
was
Kennedy film?
a real
No,
story or
it
not.
is definitely not
That was
true.
definitely not.
There's no way.
Okay, yeah,
that's
I didn't know where you were going with that. So I was
Wait,
like,
what?
Alice, I saw the same photos, but apparently it was all just like fake. All right, good night, Mandy. And Mike asked if I liked
Three
episode
Cat
9.
Productions.
I'd say that yes, I do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know. Blue Rise. I haven't seen the Rise of Skywalker enough times to make that distinction if I saw it today. So I don't know how I would. I don't know. I don't know how I would.
You should go-
gauge,
you
like,
should go watch
Is
it.
it more blue or not? I gotta do a whole Star Wars rewatch. Yeah, honestly,
No joke.
I'm due for one.
Opinions are opinions, but I feel the more you watch Rise of Skywalker, I'm treading on thin ice here maybe, but I think the
Alright,
better
well.
it gets, the more you watch it.
Yeah, I feel like that's.
I feel like
honestly
people
with
are-
any movie.
Yeah, true. But
I
like
don't know. I may have. How many times here do we think we've all seen the movie each?
3 times. I've
I
seen
mean,
it
I
3
saw it
times.
4 times in theaters.
How many times?
Three
Um,
times.
Wow.
I've seen that movie like 25 times,
Yeah, I mean,
and-
you probably have me beat,
and I think
but I'm
and
up
I think
there.
it's too many. I think
Yeah.
there was fatigue. I was like,
Well, you can't do
That's
so
because-
many like in a row. Like I haven't done a Star
Thank you,
Wars
Mike.
marathon in a while. I'm pacing myself.
no,
Yeah.
I don't know if I think I've told this before, but for some ungodly reason, there's no need anyone should have to do this. My New Year's resolution for the year 2020 was to watch The Rise of Skywalker once every month. I don't know why I did that, and so I saw it so many times in theaters.
Pulled your
I-
Disney shill
out in
status,
theaters.
perhaps?
and then, but I wasn't even like into it. You know,
Yeah.
like I wasn't like that into it. I'd much rather have watched a different movie every month. But I grew to, I grew with the film, my pain, my suffering.
See, the-
of like,
My movie for that is Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie. I have seen it way too many times at this point. Where it's like if someone's like, "You want to watch Revenge of the Sith?" I was like, "Dude, like, not really." Like
I do like it.
I
Though.
will
I
watch
want
it.
to clarify. I do like the movie. I think it's as I've described it. I think it's a beautiful mess. I like
fun.
the scene.
It's like-
I like
it's
every
like an Indiana
individual
Jones
scene.
film.
If you show me a
Yeah.
scene from Tross, I'm like, that's a good scene. Like if you show me Ben Solo kicking the Knights of Ren's asses, I'm like, that's amazing. That's like
Yeah.
S tier Star Wars. That's great. I love
Yeah.
Ben Solo. Altogether, I think it's a little bit messy. I have
It's
problems
jank.
with it.
It's got some. Jank,
I
man.
have some technical issues with the way the film is constructed.
It's like they made a puzzle, but they had to cut the pieces themselves to make it fit.
It is
So
like
it's
that. That's a
it
great.
is-
That's a
it's
great
janky.
analogy.
That's a good one. That's a good
Just
one.
thought of
That's
that
a great
one.
analogy.
That's off the dome.
And for the
so-
record, I feel the same way about Rogue One. For all you Rogue One stands. In the
Yeah,
chat.
same.
I think both movies are.
Yeah.
I like pieces, but they're very
I see a
messy.
lot of Rise of Skywalker love in the chat actually.
yeah, man.
So
People
good,
Yeah, I-
good fans.
I think one thing that hurts that movie is the pacing a little bit because
100%.
Yeah.
like in the first act, like it's just you're on a roller coaster ride just going like at Mach 10 and then
Yeah.
It's like Mach
You-
85. dude. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah, Mach 85 and you slow down a little bit and then you're on to the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing and then before you know it the movie's over. But
Brent.
always seeing a Star Wars movie in theaters is always such a great experience. So if you like the movie, if you don't like it, it's a cool Star Wars experience to see it in theaters. So
It's true.
And that
that's
was
what
the
I have
last
to say
one that
about
like we were able to see in theaters for a while, COVID or not.
For
'cause,
real,
It was
yeah.
it was the last movie I saw for a long time.
It's still gonna be
Yeah.
a while to see another Star Wars movie on the big screen, anyways.
Rogue.
Um.
I think a wait is always good though. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
when Force Awakens came out, that was like so special. And then because of the long
yeah.
wait, and then when Rogue Squadron comes out, that's gonna be great as well. Like we'll have our Disney Plus stuff here and there, and it's nice to watch it on the couch on Friday mornings. But
Right. Yeah.
nothing beats going to a movie theater with the crowd and cheering and this and that. It's
Yeah.
just great.
Yeah. Oh, I do not like. During COVID, I've liked that HBO Max has done the like. Well, you can if you don't want to go to the theaters, you can watch it on HBO Max. But I do not want that to become the norm. Just
No,
because,
I wouldn't like that.
I don't want to see theaters go. And I love
I don't think they will.
going to the
I don't
movies.
think they.
I don't think they will either. But I don't know. They
Well,
really took a hit throughout COVID.
I do want to bring it back around. We can go with the stream it takes us, so to speak. But I do want to talk about War of the Bounty Hunters for those in the chat because I think what I'm gathering from both
Go
the
for
panel
it.
and the
While you
and
do
the chat.
that, because I don't know anything about it, can I eat my burger?
Yep, go eat
I'm
your
asking
burger
for your
or eat it
permission.
live or eat it
I'm
live.
not. Well, I'm gonna turn my camera off, and probably my mic unless I'm talking.
No, just like eat right into the mic. Just like
War of the Bounty Hunters.
yeah. So basically, for the chat, the premise is, if you're familiar with Shadows of the Empire, that took place between episodes 5 and 6 that came out in the 90s. It was sort of the story about. It was a story that bridged the gaps between 5 and 6. But obviously, and there was a crossover between there's a 6-issue comic run, there's a video game, the book. It's very very well known. Probably know Dash Rendar and Prince Zijor and the Falleen and Black Sun and all that stuff originates mostly from like source books, but you really see it in Shadows of the Empire. So now in the modern Star Wars canon, we have had runs of comics. All the main runs have gone. They filled the gaps between 4 and 5, and now we're going between 5 and 6. And so we've had a couple arcs for each run. So being Star Wars, Aphra, Bounty Hunters, Vader. There's always a Vader run, like a main Star Wars one following the main characters. There's been a couple arcs, and now we're at that point in the timeline again. And Return of the Jedi and between Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back is really not explored. Wasn't really explored much in Legends, and this is really the first look we're getting at this, and it's really exciting. But it's telling this new story between 5 and 6 where Boba Fett has lost Han Solo. So on his way to deliver Jabba, Han Solo, and Carbonite, he had to stop, and Han Solo, it was messing up. Han Solo, the Carbonite, as Vader says, it was a crude chamber, and Han Solo starts to mess up. And if he doesn't fix him, he's gonna melt. And so he's got to go to this guy on Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler moon, as many people know, and he's got to get him fixed. But he's got to go do like a job for this guy, so he'll fix him. And he does fix Han Solo, but Boba Fett's away. And during that, some people come in, shoot this guy, and take Han Solo. And that's the basic premise. So now everybody in the galaxy is after Han Solo. So you got Vader after Han Solo, who wants sort of revenge for messing him up in A New Hope, which I think is great, right? Because that's an implicit relationship that we never really see develop more. Is like Han Solo shot Vader and caused Luke to blow up the Death Star, and Vader's like, God damn it, that guy! And now he made my son weak and stuff like that. So he's like, now Vader's going after him. Obviously, all the bounty hunters are going after him. Aphra is doing her own thing, and Dirge is involved now. Dirge from Legends, which is really cool. And obviously Luke, Han, and Leia and Lando want to get. So we have this huge culmination of all these different stories hunting Han Solo, and it's just super cool right now. And two of those issues came out today, as we were talking about earlier. Ochi of Bastoon is involved, who is a character from a movie that is pretty divisive, and Ochi himself was pretty nothing in the movie, but he has become one of my favorite characters. He is so funny, and he's just this weaselly he's just a jokester. He's a real jokester, and it's just been fun. If Dylan were here, I would love to put up the final panel of Vader. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I have a picture of that on my phone.
Yeah, I have a picture of it as well. I put it in
but
the Discord,
not as crisp.
in our Discord. It's clipped.
What do you want from me?
Display that. Show
you.
the people.
No, where is it?
Alex. It is in the Star Wars spoilers Discord channel in our business.
You're using the
using the old
So-
Discord.
save
So,
image. It says unable to
just so
save
I-
image preview. Wait, never mind. I got this.
just so I understand, Levi, War of the Bounty Hunters takes place after the Vader arc we just got in his comic run?
Yes, after the
Yeah.
Exegol stuff.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
after all that. This is sort of a
Makes sense.
yeah, this
okay.
is sort of a reset on all of the arcs, and now they're all doing this. And this crossover event is 34 issues. It is a huge thing. Like, this is pretty much unprecedented in scale in terms of Star Wars crossover.
There it is, by the way, if you want to talk about it while it's up.
Star Wars crossover, like, usually the last thing I can remember, the biggest thing was Vector from in the mid 2000s, and that was 20 issues maybe. And so this is much more than that. Yeah, look at this image. I love this.
Hold up. Mike Smith had me horrified while I was eating that burger because he was like, "Yo, we can hear you, man. You little prankster, you." All right, I'm only gonna have this up for a bit because it's covering us up. But why don't you?
I just love this image.
What a pick.
You're really
Yeah, this
moving
is
around
sweet.
a lot. It's just so striking. Vader in the dark with the lightsaber ignited, and Ochi, and
No,
saying,
it's all right,
"I serve
Mike.
Vader
It's all
Knight."
right.
You do too. It's just so badass. I love it. I think
It's sweet.
It's so cool. A lot of fun, just stuff going on. So this is right after, as Aiden mentioned, in the Exegol arc, Vader sort of gets messed up, so he gets refitted, and there's a sweet scene where he's back on the operating table and he doesn't have his cape on, so it's just like shredded robot Vader, and now he takes Ochi with him to go on this mission to hunt down Han Solo, and this is him confronting a Hutt, and he's like, it's one of the Emperor's like connections in the Hutt world, and he's like, you serve the Emperor, Ochi, like, what are you doing? This isn't in your purview. And he says, I serve power, and right now that means serving Darth Vader, and so do you. And then lightsaber ignites, and it's Vader standing there in the dark, and it just looks
Love you too.
I think it looks
Thank you.
pretty cool. Pretty
Um,
cool.
you
I'm
think you
excited
could take
about
on Darth Vader like in a fight?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just going around
Yep.
the horn, I want to know like what you guys
Who?
think.
Trademark.
Darth Vader. Do you think you could take him in a fight?
Do I think I could take him?
Yeah. I mean, just putting it out there. Like,
If I had some sand and maybe like
Yeah,
and
pocket
like
sand.
just bring up Padme or something. Just like make him
Yeah.
sad.
get in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
I mean-
probably overload his suit with a bunch of Force lightning.
Yeah.
not a
it's
bad
honestly,
idea,
it's honestly the most logical option.
Get a bunch of
Just have
magnets.
Yeah. We all know that
Some
Aiden is a Sith Lord, so
Aiden is.
you could
in
do that.
fact- is in fact a Sith Lord. Yeah.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
Levi, I saw that someone asked if you think Fennec will show up in the comics.
Ooh.
I
be
think
cool.
that is a likely possibility, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like they want to roll with Fennec, for sure.
Yeah.
And so if they want to, especially because she's going to be in Book of Boba, if they want to have the chance to flesh her out a little more, why not have her in Bad Batch and War of the Bounty Hunters?
Yeah.
And speaking of Fennec Shan, we haven't talked about it, but the Bad Batch. Last episode, how's everyone feeling about the Bad Batch?
It was a good
Fantastic.
episode. It was a good episode. It's probably my least favorite out of the 4 we've got, but that's not necessarily a
concur.
horrible thing because I like them all. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it was good. What it's setting up is good, in my opinion. But
Yeah, it was another stepping stone on the journey, I guess. But I get what you mean. It was just beautiful, like visually for me. Just seeing Pantora and everything. I gushed about that on our show a bit the other day. But,
yeah, we had a good discussion over there.
The
Yeah.
episode, it gave us Clink. Clink.
Yeah, I
Clink.
know. That's
Yes.
the thing. That's the thing.
Protect
Homeland.
Clink.
We
and
will.
Clink is
jamming Aqualish guy,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was sweet.
garbage
I
truck
just-
man.
It won't, but I just don't want the show to keep
Thank you.
go with the formula where it's like, oh, we need repairs. Let's go here. Something happens here, then we leave. You know, like I feel like Mando
Yeah.
sometimes kind of. I don't want to say struggled with that, but that was some people's. Some people didn't like that about Mando. I guess they considered it filler. So I don't want to see too much of that in Bad Batch, but
Yeah, and speaking of Clink, Magic Fire points out Resistance Easter eggs made me happy last episode. So we do see like
Yeah.
dog-like creatures from Resistance. Their name is eluding me right
The
now.
Vorbeck.
The
Vorbex.
Vorbeck, yes, who
Or something like that,
Toradoza has one. And then Clink, we see one of Clink's droids in Resistance as well. Clink is not the first of his kind. Resistance is the origins of the Clink bot.
oh yes.
So yeah, fun Resistance connections. And yeah, for me,
vibing Aqualish.
yeah, I feel I feel like it's animated Star Wars, and people's expectations have been a little bit astronomical, to say the least. It's something we constantly confront in the Star Wars community is expectations being let down.
Yeah.
And I feel that I don't know. It's another Star Wars animated show. It has to do the job of introducing a new generation to Star Wars, right? If you're someone who grew up with Clone Wars, this has got to be someone else's Clone Wars. If you grew up with Rebels, this has to be someone else's
Yeah.
Rebels. So
Well,
it has to go slow like this, and it'll build. And we already know pretty well that there's going to be a season 2, so we're going to get banger episodes like 3, in my opinion, and 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Honestly, they've all been really good so far. But we're going to get it there. Like this is
Yeah.
Star Wars animation really likes to take its time, and when we're viewing it week to week, it's the same thing with the comics when you're reading it month to month, and sometimes stuff doesn't line up until once it's all done. You just got to be patient with it, and
Right.
I
Well, also
trust
think
that they're
about
telling a good story.
season 7, where like people consider season 7 as a whole this huge masterpiece. But for me, the episodes I really love are the final 4, the Siege of Mandalore, and I do like the Bad Batch episodes, but I don't think they're anything too special. But I still consider season 7 a fantastic season just for those episodes alone. So I mean, Bad Batch might have the same effect on me.
Yeah. And I mean, season 7 was like kind of an event. It was like a special thing. And,
Yeah.
you know, we got 2 kind of epic-ish arcs. Siege of Mandalore was obviously, you know, the superior arc in that season. But I also think like people have the expectation of like the Mandalorian season of like every Friday is an event. Every Friday is like watching a Star Wars movie almost. But like you said, it's an animated Star Wars show, so the expectations are just different. They should be different.
It's gonna be light sometimes, right? It's gonna just
Yeah.
be
I just
I'd like to just
Yeah.
address what before you go on, Aiden. I'm sorry. This really caught my eye, and we've never got this question. What's your favorite snack, drink, food when you're watching Star Wars at home? Cheez-Its go crazy when watching Star Wars, man.
I don't really like to eat when I watch stuff because I can't hear like myself think. I don't know what I'm chewing. Like if you're chewing like chips or something, potato chips, it's just so loud. I'm trying to pay
Yeah.
attention.
Well, that's what Cheez-Its.
I just
are
have like
nice.
a
You just
drink
gotta
on
put 'em
hand.
in.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
water.
Yeah,
I
go on,
water.
Aiden. Though I'm sorry, I derailed you a bit.
This episode
No,
is sponsored by water.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with the Bad Batch, I think people are they're being impatient in the fact that they're expecting everything to be fully explained and fully realized, and like they're expecting like a 10 out of 10 out of every episode, and that's just not the case. Like we have prior evidence in shows like Clone Wars and Rebels where sometimes it's slow and you have to build stuff up and you have to establish characters and you have to establish the audience's connection with the characters. And I think this Friday, I hope certainly that we get more stuff from Crosshair, because in my opinion right now, what's going on the Imperial side of things is really interesting to see, because it's just a ever-changing environment of, well, this used to be the case with the Republic, but now we're just going to change this because we're the Empire. And it'll just be interesting to see Crosshair progress as a character. I'm pretty sure he's going to get a lot more cruel, more of like the stuff that we got in episode 3 of him just being brutal and getting the mission
He's
done.
gonna get worse before he gets better. That's for sure. If he does get
Yeah.
redeemed, it's gonna amplify. A
Yeah,
bit
it's just for him, it's by any means necessary to do what's right, what's quote unquote right for the Empire. And of course, I'm also looking forward to see what they're going to do with Omega and the Bad Batch's journey as well. I'm really looking forward to see the character development. Yeah, I think people kind of get spoiled, not like in terms of like story beats, but kind of spoiled, and as like we're getting so much great content and they always expect it to be a 10 out of 10 when Star Wars content doesn't always need to be a 10 out of 10 to be enjoyable,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
Because as fans of something, it doesn't have to be perfect, you just have to enjoy it. That's my outlook on it. And that's
Yeah.
yeah, after the sequels and just like all the chatter and all the divisiveness that the sequels brought, I just changed my mindset to where I'm like, you know what? I like this stuff in Star Wars. Anyone can like what they like in Star Wars, but you just have to enjoy it because it's entertainment, and that's its purpose. It's for entertainment. It's for teaching lessons to the next generation. That's why Star Wars is such a special story, because it has basically anything anyone could ever want. You have different characters, you have different storylines, you have different species, you have all sorts of different stuff. So that's why like it's hard for me to believe that some people think that Star Wars isn't for everybody. But that's it for my little spiel. I've
Yeah.
been talking long enough.
Been a
but-
good TED
You
Talk.
nailed it. Yeah, you nailed
You
it.
killed it, Ian. That was good. One moment. I'm gonna shut my window because it's raining really hard, and I know it's hopping on. Yeah.
Well, Mike earlier, it is Make Solo 2 Happen week. It was this Monday. I hope everyone participated if you're a fan of Solo. And he asked us if we were okay with, I believe, like Kira and Maul in Lando as a sequel to Solo instead of having a proper Solo sequel. And I'll just answer for myself. No, I want Solo 2. I want a proper Solo sequel. I'm a huge Solo fan.
Yeah. I mean, but in reality, it's probably
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be what
fair.
Mike said. In my opinion.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be more tie-ins than
I
a
don't know.
full-on.
Chapek made that
2.
slip up today or whatever.
He doesn't
Hey,
know
what was up
what
with
he's
that?
talking about, man.
No, I know. In the full quote, he is clearly just not. He just messed up.
Yeah.
He's like Han Solo, Boba Fett.
No, it's a slip up.
But still,
Um,
what do you give us some juicy Solo sequel thoughts?
I'm sorry.
I mean,
say that again?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what I would prefer. I mean, I love
Pretty much.
Solo. We talked about that the other night, but I think we're gonna get a Crimson Dawn spinoff and also a Lando spinoff. But I would love to see Alden as Han again, like a lot more of that, because I thought he was great and he nailed it.
Want
Too.
Alden.
I just
need
don't think it can be too close to A New Hope, in my opinion, anyways. I think
Yeah.
if they're gonna bring him back, it's got to be sort of in the same timeline where Solo takes place.
I don't care.
They
For
could do
me,
that.
I'm like, put Alden in Book of Boba Fett. I'm like, give
Yeah.
me it. I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool.
I just don't. That starts to get in for me, anyways. It gets a little the belief kind of wears off just because I don't think it looks enough like him to be a New Hope.
For me, and we've talked about
Han.
this before. For me, it's not about likeness. It's
Yeah.
about like the embodying the character, and I think
Right. I guess if I'm
Alden, right?
okay with CGI Luke, I can be okay with Alden and in
But
A
Alden-
New
Alden
Hope era.
Ehrenreich to me,
Han,
like,
but-
is Han Solo just as much as Harrison is.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. If they're going to do A New Hope or just Galactic Civil War era
I
Han,
agree, Mike.
I guess they would have to do Alden, right? That's like the first option, I guess. I don't see them casting anyone else as Han Solo. So
It's just like we know from the cast, from John Kasdan, Lawrence Kasdan, the writers, that it was planned as a trilogy, as like an underworld trilogy. And it's like
Yeah.
we know that there are stories that exist in Lucasfilm, like the Lucasfilm vault of these like stuff that was ready to go. Like they have the ideas. It's not like the people who started the Resistance broadcast, because it often is compared to release the Snyder Cut, but it'd be more equivalent to release the Snyder Cut if like Lord and Miller released their movie and it was like release the Ron Howard cut or release the, in this case, like release the Lord Miller cut. But this isn't the same thing. Like this is
Yeah.
a sequel that is, it's a direct continuation. It's not like something was changed. It didn't happen when we
Right.
know that there is stuff there. I
Yeah.
love
There,
and it's people
the
that say
movie
that
had
chat,
every issue other than quality, in my opinion.
that's
and
Solo.
it-
The
that's why it
marketing
didn't
was
do
its
well.
biggest issue.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Denny's, everybody, Denny's.
Denny, the Chewbacca burger, or whatever the
Denny's.
hell they're selling.
Therm
I don't even
scissors
think-
punch.
Therm, yeah, talking about Therm. Therm is the
Therm
best.
Scissor Punch, yeah. He came up in our podcast.
Mike
randomly.
said Solo is the most underrated Star Wars movie, and
Yeah,
It is.
I agree.
I agree.
I think it is because people don't think of it. I know it gets the huge hashtag movement, but like
Yeah,
I don't know.
It just kind of
It
gets
got brushed
swept
under the rug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Hey,
Brent-
great minds think alike.
Brent's saying
Yeah.
that Solo is his favorite film of the last, like, the Disney era films to come out, and
Ooh,
like
that's a hot
someti-
take.
Sometimes,
I've
sometimes I'm
heard
right
that
there
take a
with
few
him.
times.
I'm right
Yeah.
there with him sometimes. I love Solo so much.
Solo
It's like,
rules,
Yeah.
man. Solo
it
rules.
Solo's rad. It's totally
Solo
wizard,
is tubular.
dude. It's
Solo's
tubular.
math.
It's tubular wizard.
It was tubular.
Yeah,
That's a good
I
word
think
for it.
It's so
I think
good.
what helps Solo the most is just the
Orange
sole
cast.
fact that it's about Han Solo, because you know
it
he's,
also could have been its biggest weakness though if they did it wrong.
he's one of the big three: Luke,
Right.
Leia, and Han. That was it for the original trilogy, and
LLH.
Dude, Lando
you know,
gets
he-
shafted in that. In the people always talk about the big three, but Lando is there in my heart. It's the big four.
What
yeah,
about Chewbacca?
I
huh?
agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. I've actually recently, kind of going a little off topic, I've been listening to the original Thrawn trilogy recently, on audiobooks, and it's been really cool because just hearing all four of them and how what they did in Legends during that time period has been really cool to listen to, and kind of the different story beats that Timothy Zahn had for them. But let's get back on topic to Solo 2. So
Solo.
I
two.
really-
When Solo
talking
2
about
happened.
talking about the big three. I like Dylan. You said what about Chewbacca? Chewbacca honestly gets treated like an absolute idiot in the original trilogy. People
Yeah,
really
it's
overlook
true.
that. Chewbacca
Yeah.
isn't like a real character, honestly, until like Force Awakens and Solo. He is just an absolute like buffoon in the OT, and everyone treats him like a dog.
Yeah.
Like Han's like, stop thinking with your nose. Like he may actually be smart, but they don't really give him that at all. He's just like comic relief. And it's really
In the
unfortunate.
Force Awakens, does he say like does Han respond like I don't care if you're cold or something like that when they're on Starkiller?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that made me laugh.
No,
so
he was
hard.
like, "You're cold."
Yeah,
and
you're
it's like, 'cause
cold.
he's
It's,
covered.
it's
Yeah.
when he
I
says
just-
that's not how the Force works, and he's like,
Star Wars
"Oh."
does that so well with like Chewbacca and R2 like specifically, or I guess BB-8 too, where it's like they respond to something that like you kind of have to interpret what they said. And it's so great, and I feel like Chewbacca is
Yeah.
probably the best done there because he has so much character, yet he like is so mysterious, you know?
Chewbacca has the most character in Solo.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah. When he's talking about like Kashyyyk and his family, like I want to see them go to Kashyyyk and like try to free.
That'd
his
be
boys.
cool.
I know they kind of did that on Kessel, like we got a little bit of that, but
Yeah, with Sagwa.
another thing I'll say about Solo, I think that Tobias Beckett is kind of an underappreciated character, a little bit.
Yeah.
Levi, do you know if there's any like auxiliary material about him,
There is
like
a
comics?
There's a comic.
or
There's
novels?
a one shot. There's no there.
does he
there's-
kill Aura singing it?
No, it's the fall that killed her. No, as far as I know, it's just there. Oh, well, there's like a couple adventures comics with him and Val in them, but other
Ooh,
than that, and then
Maybe they should do a Visions like on him and
Beckett.
Val. That'd be kind of cool.
other than
That'd
that,
be
in the
cool.
Beckett one shot, there's not much. So there's a couple comics essentially. That's it. Though.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I might check that stuff out. I just thought he was just a interesting character because he was basically Han Solo before Han Solo was Han Solo. Like,
yeah,
Han
yeah.
Solo
Yeah.
took all of his.
He's like a bad Han though.
Yeah.
Han is
Personality
good.
traits.
Han is good at his core. That's the thing though. Han Solo
Yeah.
was always a good guy at his core, whereas Beckett, I think, is actually a bad guy. At his
Yeah, he's like a slimy.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's two sides of the
Bizarro
same
Han.
coin.
Yeah.
It's two sides of the same
Yeah.
coin.
I think one of my favorite moments in Solo, I guess now that we're just going on Solo, I'm with it. When when Han first gets onto the yacht, the space yacht, and the moment he sees Kira, like just the camera work is so nice, and like you just get the expression on his face. It's great. It's such a great scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brent, to try back around, Brent says, I hope we see Dryden in Bad Batch.
Mm.
And they made that model for
I heard
Clone
a-
Wars.
Heard some
Lightning.
theories about that. Yeah.
I hope so.
Makes sense.
What if Dryden is the one hunting Omega?
Dryden
the
is
theory I
so
saw.
cool, man. Dryden is so cool.
It's Kaminoans. But,
And-
I mean,
I think it's definitely the Kaminoans.
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
can still see Dryden when they're in their involvement in the
Yeah,
current world.
no,
They
no,
could get hired
definitely,
by Crimson
definitely.
Dawn or something.
I mean, they made the
Yeah.
model in Clone Wars, so I mean, it's like,
I
and
probably
so
can remake
far,
it.
they made the model theory of reusing characters has not failed so far because they
No,
reused the
it's
general
true.
they reused the General Grievous model for the opening to remake scenes of Revenge of the Sith, and they reused Caleb and
Time
Depa
to
Billaba.
abandon ship.
for the beginning.
We
of,
keep,
Clone Wars, you know?
we keep seeing like Saw Gerrera a million times in things, but I think it's time we start seeing a lot more Enfys Nest. Skin
Yes,
things.
please.
Every
Give
day.
us more
Um,
Enfys.
Do we know if she's still active? Oh no, wait, she would just be a kid during Bad Batch, right?
Her
Yeah,
mom
how
would
much-
be around though.
Yeah, and her
Oh,
mom wore
yeah,
the
her
suit as
mom.
well, right? Passed it down, so that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah,
Aaron,
that would be
Aaron
cool to
Kellyman
see.
talked at Celebration about her mom, like Enfys's mom, and like there are more stories that John Kasdan told her about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I want it. I
Enfys
want
Nest
Such a
it.
good
goes and
character.
the theme of Enfys Nest is amazing. I like just
Yeah.
listen to that sometimes when I'm driving. Yeah. And then that whole fight.
Speaking
The train scene's a bit slow, I guess. I don't know. There's something about the train scene that like, but the fight on the train is spectacular.
Oh, when
Like,
she comes down with the
yes, and
Beckett.
Dryden, he like pulls up the hatch to block the shots. That's awesome.
I love when Han and Beckett like go on the side of the train, they're hanging off, and he uses
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Or
so
he, like,
cool.
or he like flips over and pulls the hatch up to deflect Enfys's blasts.
And then Chewie
pretty
almost
sweet.
dies.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Remember they
Yeah.
showed that in the trailers? It's like, okay. Well,
Yeah,
he's not
okay.
gonna die.
like we
Okay.
okay,
Yeah, okay.
Disney, we all
Does
know he's not
Chewbacca
gonna
die in Solo?
God, they're so bad. The marketing for the movie was so bad.
It was awful. It was awful. They had like
So
one trailer, like 2 months before it came
Didn't
out.
they have a trailer just like a couple weeks before it came
Yes.
out, and that was it?
It was 2 months. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was February, and the movie came out.
It was right when
May.
like Black Panther came out. I remember.
Was,
So, yeah,
it
February.
Yes.
It was that was the
2018.
first
Yeah.
trailer 3 months before the movie
and
The
then the movie
first
comes
trailer.
out with Deadpool
and Infinity War.
and Infinity War.
Yeah, yeah.
Oof, that's a tough crowd to beat.
5 months after the Last Jedi.
And it's so like right off the bat, it's such an awesome movie. Like you get the what's her name, the like crime boss slug lady,
Oh,
Lady Korvac.
No, Lady
Lady Cor-
Proxima.
Lady
Lady
Proxima.
Proxima.
Yeah, she was awesome.
That's right.
And then the sunlight hits her, and it's so great.
That's
Monkey
just
Pilot.
a rock.
Yeah, I
That's
like
just a
that little
rock.
callback to Return of the Jedi, where he's like, "I've got a thermal detonator."
Yeah, and him and Kira just feel so right. I don't know how to explain it, but they just feel their chemistry is really good.
Mike Smith. Solo marketing is like Wii U marketing.
Yes, yeah.
Solo
yeah,
marketing
yeah.
was like
Good
the
point.
Wii U of Star Wars films.
Right. Good moving console. Yeah, the Wii U is all right. I never owned one,
Don't
but
diss-
I'm
don't
really
diss the
in.
Wii U.
I'm
I was
really
into the
into
Wii U.
like
Mass
Nin-
Effect 3 on the Wii U. was Really cool.
Assassin's Creed on the Wii U. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a big Nintendo guy, and I'm really into like all the old consoles and stuff. And Wii U's
Brent asked, does Enfys Nest exist at this moment though, or do we think that it'll form around Saw? I think the Cloud Riders exist right now. If your question is about like Bad Batch, I think her mom would be in charge of the Cloud Riders right now. I think Enfys would be like 10 or 7 to 10 in terms of like Enfys herself.
Yeah.
But the Cloud Riders would be around, and there's a lot of really cool theories about how the Cloud Riders are descended from the Nile in the High Republic right now.
yes.
And I think there's some,
Ooh, I have
Right.
not heard
Cool.
that theory,
Yeah.
but
Such a
I
cool
really
theory.
like that
there's some
theory.
cool connectivity there, and
I
we
just had a
know
f-
in the Star Wars comics. Sorry to cut you off, Dylan. That people by the time of the original trilogy are still mimicking Nile iconography as like
Hmm.
terrorist rebellion cells, or like mimicking Nile stuff. So it's interesting to see like the super long thread of how pirates will become freedom fighters, later down the line. Sort of like how Saw Gerrera's freedom fighters become the partisans, become terrorists. It's sort of
Right.
inverse
Yeah.
correlation, but there's a lot of connectivity there between the Cloud Riders and the Nile.
So
But-
I was thinking if the theories are correct on, and I don't say rumors, they're literally just theories that we're gonna get the Camino uprising. Do you think we could see Saw and Enfys Nest taking part in that as like the beginning of the rebellion, or like the first act of the
Well,
rebellion?
To answer that, a couple things first. It says, do you think Solo resonated with those who watched Clone Wars and Rebels better over those who did not watch those shows? Solo feels like it's more direct and offshoot of the animated stuff. Yes, absolutely. Solo has been, I think, probably the best movie-going experience that I've had, period, with Star Wars movie, because I had nothing spoiled. For every other movie, I've had something spoiled for me. And then I just went in and I felt so rewarded as a fan.
Right.
who
Not a lot of
consumed-
expectations for Solo, honestly.
Like
well,
when
even
Darth-
just the
Yeah.
fact that Maul's in it.
Yeah,
Like,
like, I felt
yeah.
rewarded as someone who was a fan of Clone Wars. I was like, I grew
Yeah.
up with this animated show, and now it's paying off in this movie. Super cool.
Mhm.
Like that is such
it was
a
the first time that's happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like such a super cool thing as
Yeah.
a fan. And then talking about the Kamino and Uprising and Saw and Enfys, we know in the Solo novelization the coaxium that Enfys gets goes to Saw Gerrera. Like Jin Urso, young Jin Urso, and Saw Gerrera are in
Yeah,
the end of the solo
Ooh.
novelization. Like,
That's right.
that's where that like they're working together. Like that's where that coaxium goes.
Yeah, you want to make
So-
a theory video?
Yeah, let's do it. So
Okay.
it's possible that I think the Kaminoan Uprising is separate from the rebellion, though. I think that's a separate plot line.
Yeah.
Aiden, I know
Yeah.
you're. I know you're a fan of. I imagine you're probably a fan of the.
Well, I'm
Kaminoan
just thinking if they
Uprising.
want to tie them together, though, I feel like it could make sense. I know in Legends it's different, but
I think
Yeah,
it'll be
kinda
just
cool.
the rebellion will kind of just be the Kaminoan thing will be like a spark. There's all these sparks
Yeah, yeah.
around the galaxy
Aren't
that,
there?
That
Lots
lights
of
the
rebellion.
fire.
That'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
the first order down.
I think the Kaminoan rebellion kind of just has to be something that's amongst the clones in the Empire, and it'll probably just inspire more groups to rise up against the Empire
For sure.
in the end.
Yeah,
Because I feel like Saw and his group right now at the time of the Bad Batch, they're kind of on the move, trying to avoid the Empire, kind of like how we saw in episode 1 and episode 3 of the Bad Batch. Like
Right.
he's pulling off of Onderon. I think he's leaving Onderon. I could be wrong about that, but right now everything's kind of in flux for his group, and the Partisans I don't think have formally been founded yet. I think Saw probably, and I could be wrong because I didn't really read a lot of the auxiliary material for Rogue One, but he probably isn't too prevalent until time of Jedi Fallen Order, which is 5
Right.
years
Yeah,
after
Well,
Revenge of the Sith.
I mean,
here's my thought process though. If the Bad Batch are involved somehow with the Kamino or the clone uprising, or they like hear about it before it happens, they know Saw Gerrera. Not that they necessarily be able to find him. They're not like
But
tight
the-
with him. They know him and they know his like his morale, I guess.
But
or
the
his, like, what
uprising
he's-
has always been localized to just Camino, though. It's something that happens
it.
on. It's not like a galaxy-wide event. It's just something that
Right.
happens on Camino.
Yeah.
and I don't
well, I
really
mean,
see
it still
that-
could, but
I don't know if I don't see. I'm not sure. Before you say that, Magic Fire says I thought they kind of debunked the Cloud Riders connection in the High Republic show. I haven't watched the most recent episode. If that's
What the-
true,
me neither.
Oh. Okay.
that's really unfortunate.
Thought there was some
um,
show that I'm missing out on. But it's just like-
Elaborate.
Mike
Elaborate on
Smith, who wants to be known as Michael. Michael, I have played Mario Odyssey. I have not finished Breath of the Wild, but they were both spectacular games.
Ooh, they're both great. Yeah,
Yeah,
Me,
I just
oh,
can't. Breath of the Wild's too hard for me. It's like I'm playing that game, and I'm like, how
It's a
does
lot.
This, how can a this is made for like 12-year-olds? Like, how can they beat this? And I can't.
it is. It's very difficult.
It's like you hit something and your weapon breaks, and it's like, well, now I got to go find
It's
more
tough.
weapons, and
It's tough stuff.
it's rough. But Mario Odyssey was a great ride. That was a spectacular game.
super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so with the Kaminoan Uprising thing, the more that I think about it, especially now that we're seeing stormtroopers, clone stormtroopers spread throughout the galaxy on Pantora and stuff, and we're seeing the presence of clones and stormtroopers just spreading and spreading and spreading. I feel like localizing some sort of uprising is becoming less and less likely for the plot. I still think the plot will have to connect to the clones at large somehow. I mean, we know Rex is.
Yeah.
Rex is going after the clones. We know
But-
that.
They haven't been stormtroopers for very long though, so they don't really have a reason to uprise
True.
yet. So like once they realize they're being treated like dirt, I imagine they're gonna start the uprising.
No, I don't think. I think they're just like flesh robots now, though. I don't think they care. Like they don't have that.
But like once their chip starts to kind of wind down, which we know kind of happens, like I don't know.
Not really. I mean,
Yeah, but
well, I think the questions will be answered.
It's a good theory.
I'll just put
Yeah.
my hands up. I think I'll let Jennifer Corbett take me on the journey. I think she'll
yeah,
answer.
we still got 12 fat episodes left.
I don't know if they're fat, but yeah, we definitely.
Yeah,
Have,
no, it's
We'll
true.
probably
At
have,
least
like,
some of them are fat.
4 fat episodes.
Yeah.
we have a few.
6.
We have a few fatters. Yeah. Just letting, we got some slim.
We got some
ones.
fatties.
We got some
fatters.
fatties though.
Yeah,
Fatties.
I know
You
this
ever
is
been to Fatty's Cookies? Never.
I know this is kind of off topic again. Sorry, I'm kind of all over
No,
the
go for
place
it.
with my
That's what this
thought
stream's all about.
process.
What's
But
up, Nicolier?
the other day, I was just thinking about the Kenobi series,
As one does.
and I was also thinking about Rebels, and I kind of recently I've just been going back through Rebels season 2 when Vader first shows up, And something that really caught my attention, and I made a video on this on my channel, was a conversation that Vader and Palpatine had after Vader finds out Ahsoka is still alive. Um, Basically, to summarize the conversation, Vader and Palpatine think that Ahsoka can lead them to other Jedi, and then Vader makes the point of saying, such as Kenobi,
If he
and then
lives.
Palpatine's like, perhaps if he lives, and that kind of just got my mind going about how they're going to, because it's inevitable that in the series we're going to see Vader and Obi-Wan face off, but it'll be interesting to see if this is like the first instance of like a show or a movie retconning another show or a movie, because
Right.
from the conversation it's very apparent that Vader and Palpatine have no idea that Obi-Wan is still alive.
I think they just
And then-
think that he's dead. So I think if the duel ends with like a potential death for Obi-Wan, that Vader's like sort of like how Rebels season 2 ends with Ahsoka, where it's ambiguous to each other if either one survives.
Right.
I think if you end it like that, it keeps that continuity intact.
I feel like for the conversation on New Hope to make sense, that Vader kind of has to lose the fight, because he's like, when
I think
left
they could
you, I was
both
but
lose.
the learner.
You know,
Yeah,
I think
that's
it can,
true.
I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it can be a lose-lose fight.
Right.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it was just an interesting thought that was going around in my head, because like even with the Bad Batch, there have been minor changes to continuity, and I was just, in my mindset, I'm like, well, if they can do something as small as that, who's to say that they won't take a risk and do something as big as retconning a show with another show? And I know
Right,
it's
yeah.
a kind of outlandish, but there's a bit of precedence to my mindset.
Yeah. In
I
my
understand what
opinion,
you're saying, but
retconning works as long as the context still makes sense. Like that conversation, I can still see it making sense if they have that fight.
yeah, it still makes sense to me if they have that fight, because it's years passing in between when they fight and that conversation. Upwards
Yeah,
of
it would be like
upwards of half a decade. 5 or
it'd be
6
like
years.
4 or 5 years.
So it's like
Yeah.
could still work. It works. That works for me. I'm not sure like there's a way that you even could retcon that. I think that sentence is so vague and affords so much wiggle room that you would really have to try hard to retcon that.
Well, just
I
the
don't
word
even think
choice
you can.
alone kind of makes me think that they knew that there would be a showdown, or that
A
the
rematch,
characters would have
essentially.
some kind of interaction in between episode 3 and episode 4. Like just the fact, like him saying like if he lives or something like that, or I don't know, I'm not sure. I don't know. It just
Hey, Jedi General, can you source? I keep hearing that it's going to be 6 episodes, but I have not seen an official source on when that is.
Michael,
Yeah,
we do
that
plan
was
on
just a theory I
streaming
had.
games here on YouTube eventually. We just haven't because we're lazy.
And for Brent, it was rematch of the century. So we know that they will fight. I don't think it's going to be a vision like a lot of people say. There's definitely going to be an in-person fight between
It'll be face to
Darth
face.
Vader and Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi.
Which
And
I wasn't with at first, but Levi, you kind of put me onto it. Actually, I like
I
the idea of them
I
fighting.
like the
now.
reasoning.
Well, especially after watching the original trilogy again, like Obi-Wan is like, "Yo, you gotta kill this man," and like,
Exactly.
and
Why
at
is he
the
so
Right.
like aggro? He's like, you gotta kill him.
and if he like, it's not like he would know that Vader had slaughtered all these Jedi without like going out. Like I doubt that would just get to him on Tatooine. So I don't know. They're like, I feel like they do have to face down again for that to change, because he's gonna try to
Save him.
turn him
Yeah, he
back.
has to try- he's gonna
and
try to
it's
save
really
his
not gonna
friend.
work. And so he's got to switch to that like, no, I can turn you back. Like you're not evil. To no, this guy is pure evil, and there's nothing we can do. Like you have to kill him.
Yeah, now that we talk about it more and more, it kind of makes sense that that conversation is a little vague. But like I said previously, when my mind goes somewhere, when I theorize about stuff, I can go pretty outlandish sometimes. Like I did a crazy Bad Batch theory, and then I did this Kenobi one. but I just do it for fun because it just makes me think really hard and kind of test myself about what I know, I guess.
That's why we love
But-
Star Wars, man.
And it's
Yeah.
Brand brings up a point that a lot of people are apprehensive about, which is will it like fit into the story? And he says, I'm down for a rematch no matter what, so long as they, it's right and it corrects and it flows and makes sense. And I think part of the problem that people had with the sequels was it felt so disconnected. And I thought this way for a while. Like I couldn't make the mental bridge between the originals and the sequels like flow. Now I think especially to episode 64 story works really well. But there's a 30-year time jump there. And it's different visual medium. It feels really different. The movies were made much later. This is Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. Like, you're going to have to really try hard to make it feel not like it fits.
Right.
Like, these are the main actors of one of the main trilogies that isn't nearly as old as the original trilogy. These are the same people. And there was the right age. There's no recasting. There's no new main cast. Like, these are the guys. This is it's Owen and Beru Lars from the prequels. Like, it is the same cast.
Well, I think he's more referencing the fact that they're gonna fight before A New Hope, and he's under the impression, like a lot of people.
Oh
are,
no,
that
no,
was
and
the
I'm
first
just
thing
saying.
they
I'm just saying, no matter what happens,
Oh,
I just
okay,
feel
yeah.
that the cast being the same, it being like the prequel crew, will make it feel so organic to the universe of Star Wars, because I mean, I think people forget how good Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi is. Like, people are gonna instantly just, I think, buy back.
So
the
good.
internet will not let you forget, man. All the gifts,
I mean, I
all the
don't-
memes,
I don't
yeah.
Like, this dude, exactly. Like, this dude is iconic.
No, he is like
He's
this.
everywhere,
He's one of the only consistent things I think in the prequels, where it's like he's just amazing. Every line he
And
says. is
Hayden, just as much so.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you would really have to try to make it feel wrong.
Yeah, and to your point, Levi, about like the original cast coming back, we have a great showrunner on this show in Deborah Chow.
Deborah
Yeah,
Chow.
I mean,
yeah.
just look at her episodes of Mandalorian and tell me how you cannot have confidence in this show. It's
Yeah, yeah.
impossible.
And I'm
You have
I'm
the
under the
showrunner?
impression.
You have the cast. It's all there.
there.
They went back and rewrote the script.
You have
It's all there.
Filoni involved as
Yeah, exactly. I was
now
just
as
gonna say
someone
that.
who's creative, like to
Right.
sort of manage it. Like,
It
you
can't
have
miss. It's not gonna miss.
you got it's the golden gun. Like, you're good.
Right.
I think it's good.
Yeah, no matter
Yeah,
what
it's
happens,
in good hands.
no matter what happens in the actual storyline of the show, we're gonna enjoy it.
It's gonna be dope.
Like,
yeah, I mean, obviously,
I can
like they
guarantee
could
it.
do some things, obviously, that are like what the heck, but they wouldn't. They know what they're doing. They got it.
They got it. They got
Yeah.
it.
Michael asks, is there any franchise other than Star Wars that encapsulates you like Star Wars? Avatar: The Last Airbender for me. I'm huge on Avatar. I'm a huge Avatar fan, and just that world, like that and Korra, so cool.
Yeah, and that's how Dave
Hmm.
Filoni got his job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Once again, if anyone can source in the chat, we've been bleeding viewers the whole time, but those who are still watching, if someone can source the 6 episodes thing, because I've heard 4, I've heard 6. I don't know where the 6 is coming from. I know KRT runs with 6, but there's no official source. It's just sort of a rumor mill thing that I think people have said so many times that they think it's 6, but I don't think that's confirmed.
Yeah, there's. I don't think there's anything official.
So if someone could find any sort of source on that, I would greatly appreciate it.
Because Obi-Wan's been designated as a mini series, right? Or limited series.
I believe it's limited event series.
limited event. Yeah,
the
so
same as
that kind of leads me to think that the 6 episodes might be right, because I don't know if y'all heard of that show, Chernobyl,
Yep.
on
Yep.
HBO. That was, it might have been more than 6, but
It was 8,
pretty short.
Right.
But yeah,
Well,
I
how
think
long
it's
was
gonna be
Falcon and Winter Soldier? 6.
6.
6.
I think it'll be like that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope they're like an hour long. Each one
Yeah.
of them. 45 minutes
They
to
will
an hour,
be, I
yeah.
think.
If we get an episode under half of an hour, not
People
including
will riot.
not including
We'll
credits, not
Yeah.
including credits. What are you doing?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
riot.
it's
I'm
a-
gonna riot.
What are you doing?
Well, what are they
What are
doing?
you
I mean,
doing?
that'd just be a waste. That'd be such a waste of time.
I don't need Wings of Caradax.
Yo,
in my
I talk about it
Kenobi
all
series.
the time. Wings of Caradax is outrageous. It's like 16 minutes.
It's unfair.
I don't need that in my Kenobi series.
No, not
Filoni.
at No, I
So
and
get it.
Deborah
fair.
Chow.
They got it. This is huge, I think, for them over there. Like I think they're pouring everything they can into this, and it's gonna be beautiful. Especially, we keep circling back to this, but it's like Ewan and Hayden Christensen. It's like, how can it not be amazing?
Oof. Okay. Yeah. Jedi General in the chat just sent me an article from October of 2019. Ewan saying that the show will be. This is Ewan. This is a correct source that Ewan said it's 6-hour-long episodes. But
Okay.
I want to point
That's
out
a while
that
ago, but yeah.
that was was
Yeah.
before the rewrites to the show.
That could have
So-
changed.
That
Yeah.
really could have changed. So I hate to poo-poo that. Like, that is official though. I don't want to negate that. Like, that was Ewan did say that, but I think people have sort of lost that confidence
That was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
after
yeah.
the rewrites. So
Truth.
I will just say when it comes to these big franchises and actors talking about the shows they're in, I know this is kind of like a bigger thing with Marvel and kind of getting your expectations up based upon what some of the actors say. I really hope that doesn't become the case with Star Wars, where like the actors start hyping people up
Pride.
for the show and then
Pride.
it's the exact opposite, you know. But it'll be fine. It'll be great. I'm so excited.
Quick shout out Clyde Schultz, homie of mine. What's up, brother? Runs a mean game of D&D, that kid. You ever want to play
Ooh.
D&D? Go to him.
Let's go.
Let's go. AJ, you a
Everyone,
D&D
you
guy?
get-
I want to be.
Do you
but I'm
roll
not.
dice? Ooh.
No, I want to roll.
All right, well, you and Levi.
We'll roll
Critical,
You, Levi.
critical
all right.
hit. I rolled the D20 and I hit a 20.
Yeah,
Critical-
you hit it. You critical hit
Critical hit.
Someone's gonna teach me how to roll them, and we'll
Success.
figure it out.
Maybe I'll work something
I'm like the
out.
master code breaker, dude. I'm like, was the end of the table.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
I
I
will
mean-
be
Clyde,
right
Clyde,
back.
give us your Star Wars hot take. Clyde's a Star Wars guy. He's Star Wars.
I don't know. I feel like we're coming to the end here. I feel like it's been a solid hour. Start ramping it up, or do you want to keep going?
I could talk. Well, actually, maybe I should wrap it up. It's getting a bit late here, but I don't know. Just final thoughts. Give me a Bad Batch hot take.
Bad
Ooh,
Batch,
let's do prediction. We did that last
Prediction.
week, right?
Yeah, I like that more than hot
And Levi
take,
nailed
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
right. I
Yeah.
have pressure now.
Yeah. Well,
We're
now
getting
we're
Rex this
really
week, baby.
in no man.
I'm just gonna say this
No.
every week.
Hey, man, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, I'll get it one time.
No, Rex. If we're doing
No,
Bad
we're
Batch
getting Omega with the bow.
Omega.
Okay, I'll start. I think you're right. I think Omega Bow. I think this is the episode where they start the hiring process. I think we get Baby Rancor. I think we get Zygerians and the Trandoshan lady who hires them for a job. And I think the job is doing something. And I think I cut out Zygerians. No Zygerians.
Yeah.
I think they start to, because last episode Tech was like, "Yo, we got to get supplies." We've seen in footage. They're like, "Hey, we want to do work for money and food." That's it. I think it's easy as that. I think they start work, Trandoshan lady, simple episode. They do a job.
I'm thinking we get some more Crosshair.
And Crosshair though. And
Yeah.
Crosshair.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think it's gonna be another flip flop episode where it's like you get what's going on with the batch, you get what's going on with the bad, you know.
Aiden,
So
you know that shot in the trailer of like the 3 new class shuttles landing and then the like the clone troopers lined up and the elite squad coming out. I think we get
Yes.
that. I think we get that shot. This episode.
Yeah, I think for this upcoming episode, Crosshair is not only going to kill the men, but the women,
Women
and
and
the
then the
children too.
well, do you think we'll see any more of Omega's like hinting to
Omega.
her abilities?
I think so. I think that's going to be sprinkled a little
Hey,
bit
okay.
in each
Oh,
episode.
interjection. Can we get a quick poll in the chat? Quick response in the chat and from the panel here. Omega, yes or no? Because my girlfriend doesn't like Omega, and it
What
kills
the-
me.
I
Omega
like
is
Omega.
she's the
Omega's
best.
cool.
Omega.
Omega.
Omega's the
She's
best.
precious.
Yeah, Omega's
Omega is
awesome.
pre-
I chose Omega over Grogu. That's how much I like
Bruh.
Omega.
Well, I don't know about
Whoa.
that.
Well,
Listen,
hey,
listen,
I'm
I
just-
don't know about
that's where I'm
that.
going.
Listen, whoa. You can turn on we'll turn on you real
Whoa.
quick like that. That's yeah. This is
Hey,
a
you
bit
wanted
of
a hot take there? it
We
is.
got Brent Age
Ow.
of Grogu.
Yeah, I love
in the chat.
Grogu,
Yeah, we
but-
got
It's
Brent
the, it is the Age of Grogu. It's not. He didn't name
I'm
his
not a
channel
big,
Age of Omega.
not a big baby
alright?
guy.
It's not. It's
But
not
it's
the
different.
Age of Omega.
It's not like a. He's not
And it's-
crying and like.
Listen,
I don't know.
listen.
I still love him.
Yeah,
It ain't the age of Omega. That's all I'm saying.
Y'all being
I-
Omega being relation to Palpatine theory. Yeah, that one's been thrown around. The hair is the only thing that I can
Yeah,
see
I
the
don't see
connection.
that
The
to.
happening.
stupid hair.
So I just
Yeah.
want to throw that out there. I'm calling you out. I called you out, girlfriend. I won't say your name. I called you out. I want to dox
Is she
you.
watching?
I think she was earlier. Yes. I did to call her out. She may not be anymore. But back
Dang.
to Bad Batch predictions.
I thought I wouldn't like Omega, honestly, and I do.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Back
In
to-
that
back to
trailer, I was like, "What is
predictions.
this? A
Yeah, I
kid?
was like, come on, like
Another kid?" But
I wanna-
Yeah, I think for some people,
predictions.
since she's a little older than Grogu, and she's she's so naive about the galaxy and stuff, I can kind of see how like if that is just a constant with every episode of her just like getting into trouble, and then the Bad Batch having to save her, I can see how that might upset people a little bit. But I'm pretty sure we're not going to get that, rinse and repeat formula. Hopefully,
right.
for the rest of the season.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
mm,
What's Clyde on about here? OG trilogy mains got too much screen time in the sequels. What do you think about that, Levi? You're the sequel head here.
he's the sequel head. Well, I'll give it
Or
to him.
you guys are the sequel heads.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've got 2 sequel heads behind me.
Yeah, he's got literal sequel heads. I don't know. I feel like we both have equal love of the sequels, if not.
Right.
We have intense love of the sequels. But OG
I've heard that
trilogy
take before.
mains
I don't really know
too
how to.
much screen time.
I'm the other way.
I think it
don't
was
know, I guess,
fine.
don't know.
I didn't think they needed more. It wasn't
Yeah, I think it was
about them.
balanced. I mean,
If I dare
hopefully,
say.
if Carrie was alive, I
Yeah.
wish she had more in Rise of Skywalker. But other than that, Han and Luke got good for me anyway. Got good.
Yeah,
Also,
Yeah.
I will mail you my 526 sweat towel, All New Nerds Live. I will mail this to you.
Autograph.
You're going to have to pay me, but
Weird. What a weird plug.
what a weird thing to do, right?
That- yeah,
Like
that
I was
was
thinking
It's going in the
what
Hall
would
of
be
Fame.
weird?
Sponsored by Fast and Furious 9. See it June 16th.
Don't see it unless they pay us. Once they
I
pay
know that's
us,
a
you
bit.
can-
That's a bit I'm doing. We're sponsored by Fast 9.
Those
I'll
are fun movies to see.
I'll say it until
Get
it's
us
true.
sponsored by Fast 9 until
You
we
know?
actually are.
I'll say it
is
until
that
it's true.
franchise still really going on?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh
You bet
yeah.
your ass. Okay, were those the predictions? Was that it? Were those your sorry predictions?
Well,
I
I live my
one-
life
I heard one good
quarter
prediction from-
part at a time.
I'll give you 60
one
portions.
portion.
I'll give a
It's a lot of
real
portions.
prediction
Detroit?
real quick.
Dude,
I'll
she
give
should
a
just
real prediction real quick.
go for it.
Hit me.
I think we're gonna see a lot more of Vice Admiral Rampart, and I
Yeah.
think his
Yes, sir.
responsibilities are gonna be a lot more than just the chain codes and his little project in War Mantle. He is an admiral in the Imperial Navy, so theory of mine, which I made a video on, go check it out.
Go check it out.
Shameless plug.
Go check out Instar
um,
talk AT-AT show.
ATST show.
ATST. I'm
but-
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please.
No, that's all right. But yeah, I think one of his
talks
other
Star Wars
responsibilities, I think one of Rampart's other responsibilities will be the production of the new Imperial fleet, which means Imperial Star Destroyers, because those should be showing up pretty soon.
You think we get a Morgan Elsbeth appearance? That's the
I
magistrate.
mean, anything's
Yeah.
possible.
Oh, yes, please.
Anything's
Yeah. Give us
possible.
some more
Aiden,
of her.
Aiden, you're correct that we will see an Imperial Star Destroyer in the show with Rampart. That is on his Black Series box. So
Yeah,
you're
that's
right on
true.
the money there. So maybe we do see an Elsbeth appearance, perhaps with the ISD.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it makes sense because it's a period of transition, and one of the things transitioning besides the Imperial Army is the Imperial Navy, getting rid of those old
Those stinky
Venators and
Venators.
Yeah.
replacing them with the ISD ones. So It'll be
Venators are so
exciting to see that
cool, though.
transition.
Venators are superior Venator.
Venators are just awesome, man.
I know,
So
but
cool.
they're a relic of the old Republic, Dylan.
It's true.
You
Yeah.
gotta-
You
you
can't.
gotta-
You gotta wash it all
They
away.
don't. I mean, the Empire will still use them for like 5 years, so it's all right.
Yeah,
still got it, we still
for a little bit of time, but
Well, at least
you know,
until
everything.
the Tarkin novel. They're still
Yeah, everything has to be
wiped
built
away.
back.
Oh, I got a prediction. I think
Wiped away
Echo will
for
continue to
the
be
Empire.
sassy.
Echo, ornery Echo.
He's gonna have an
Okay.
attitude to him again, once
Okay.
again, until he sees Rex, and then it's gonna all bubble up into that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I
Well.
think that. I mean, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was.
Thanks,
I think this was
everyone.
a fun one.
This
We
was a
didn't
good
have as many
stream.
people
It was great.
watching, but it was. I really enjoyed the
Oh, wait.
conversation.
One last thing before we leave. Claude wants to know our fave Bad Batch episodes so far. Just Just go around.
Round the horn. 3.
2. Cut and run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.
One was my favorite so far.
Yeah. Episode 1.
All right. There you have it. That's our
Diverse
takes. Maybe it will change
Opinion.
by this week's
Hopefully,
episode.
hopefully it will change. I want them.
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
We
we-
always want the
we
next
have-
one to be your favorite. Yeah.
What? 12 more episodes?
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
We got a chunk.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for sticking around. This was really fun. I really enjoyed having Aiden on, having AJ as always,
Yeah.
as we call it, the all new Marauders. Hopefully, we'll have other people on in the future. Looking at you, Brent.
Yeah. Some quick
Uh,
shout outs. Thanks Mike for coming in. Thanks Hustle Mando. Thanks Clyde. Thanks Brent.
Clyde.
Thanks
Magic
Magic
Fire.
Fire. And
Magic
I missed
Fire.
you.
Arwen Skywalker wanted to be
shout
here.
out to everyone in
Yeah.
the chat. And
Arwen Skywalker,
thanks.
if you made it this far, watching it on the VOD, I know you watch it back. Shout out to you.
Yeah, what's up, R1?
yeah, I really appreciate this, guys. It was a really fun conversation, and hopefully we can do it again because this has
course.
been a really
Yeah,
cool
for sure, man.
experience.
Yes, sir.